Alright, let me make sure this shit is recording and it has a mic on, and it does. Oh my god, it's been too long. Have you guys missed me? I've missed you. I'm sorry. Alright, now I know what you're gonna say. Aizawa, you've been gone an entire week, more than a week. The fuck were you up to? Well, it was a combination of laziness and personal shit. So that's all I can really say right now. It's nothing crazy, just one of those weeks that just be killing you. And I was planning on recording like every day. I was like, okay, I'll record today. And then, shit happened. So I just been like stuck on Discord, fucking around. Honestly, join my Discord channel, man. Everybody there is a weirdo. I love them all. Alright. Blanky, this is for you. Alright. If Blanky is watching this, she caused this. Alright. Blame Blanky. Alright. But, yeah. So, this is What If Deku was the Joker. Alright. I had a few what ifs actually planned before this. But, like, this shit just hit me like a freight train. Alright. Not gonna lie. So, the way that this is gonna start, alright? We're just gonna get right into it. The way this is gonna start, we're gonna start off with Deku in an orphanage. He's sitting there with all the, the orphan... I forget what they called, but, like, the people who, like, run the orphanages, like, the women. This is like a holy orphanage, right? And then, Deku, he has a quirk. I'll tell you that in a bit, but, like, they're like... What's it called? They're like, oh, you're an evil Satan spawn, because his quirk is kind of villainous in their eyes. They see it as a pretty villainous quirk, so they're like, oh, you're Satan spawn, you're evil. Because they're like a holy church, right? And they see quirks as, like, gifts from God, alright? So since they see quirks as gifts from God, they see, like, villainous quirks as, like, like, people who are tainted by evil or tainted by the devil himself or something. So, they're always like, so they're all yelling like, oh, you're evil, you're a demon, yada, yada, yada. They're just cursing at Deku. And, well, I'll explain Deku's quirk after I explain his origin story of how he was born. Alright, so Inko won't be his mom. We can say that Inko we'll see, alright? Inko isn't his mom, Hisashi isn't his dad. Honestly, he's not even really Deku. He's just a completely different character, whose name is still going to be Izuku and called Deku, right? So Deku, it will go before then. All right, we're in 2 hero agencies, right? 2 different hero agencies. They're on a team mission, and they just beat down this mobster, right? So this woman, she's like, Eraser, we did it, yada yada. He's like, oh, shut up, all right? You're too loud. Yeah, we completed the mission, all right? She's like, come on, let's go have a drink. Let's go celebrate. Aizawa, this is Aizawa. He's like, fine, alright, whatever you say, joke, And she's like, oh, really? Because she's been asking him to have a drink for a while, but he's constantly refused. But today Aizawa was like, why not, I haven't had a drink in a while. So, they go out, they have drinks, right? And, after a whole night of drinking, eventually, you know what's about to happen. I don't even have to explain it. You know what's about to happen. Miss Joke wakes up. She's like, oh, what the hell happened? She looks to her right. She sees, a lump in the bed, and she's like, oh, fuck. She's like, shit. Because she doesn't know who the fuck this is. She doesn't know what the fuck just happened. She doesn't know anything, right? So she's like, please don't. Please, like, she's like, at one point, she's like, please be someone I know. And then the other point, she's like, please don't be someone I know. Because if it is someone she knows, it's awkward. If it isn't someone she knows, then it's just weird. So she flips a sheet. She sees the long-haired Eraserhead himself. I had to flex for myself, alright? So she sees Aizawa, and she's like, oh. It clicks in her head what happened. She can tell. She sees, the used rubbers on the floor, and then the boxes and stuff like that. She's like, oh, no. She's like, we did that. Oh, my goodness. And, she's like, I'm gonna just get out of here. Like, because she doesn't know if Aizawa really, likes her at all because, he's always cold to her. So she's just like, I'ma just get out of here. Like, I gotta get out of here. So she gets her clothes, she washes up, she gets out, she goes, right? Aizawa, about like an hour after she left, wakes up. He looks around, he's like, what the hell? He sees that like the room is kind of trashed and there's, used rubbers everywhere. And then Aizawa was like, what the hell? He looks around a bit and he's like, what the hell happened last night? And he picks up his phone, he calls up Joke because he has her number. He's like, hey, Joke, what happened last night? Joke is like, well, she doesn't know if Aizawa remembers anything. She's like, how much do you remember? Aizawa was like, after we got to like the 50th drink, because like Aizawa was a heavy drinker, alright? After we got to like the 50th drink, no, not the 50th. What am I saying? That's alcohol poisoning. After we got to like 20 drinks, all right. I'm not gonna freaking break my fucking liver, all right. So after we got to like the 20th drink, I passed out, and I don't remember anything. And then Joke's like, all right, she's like, well, what's it called? You were talking to this one lady, she's making jokes, right? Because she's trying to seem like nothing's up. Aizawa does notice that something's up with her, but he doesn't really pester her on it. He's like, sorry, He hangs up the phone, he looks around, he's like, I guess she left. He gets up, takes a shower, and then gets out of the hotel room, because it was a hotel room, not his house or anything like that. So Joke, she's like, all right, well, that's that, that's what she's thinking. Then, she starts getting, morning sickness, and she's like, what? She checks, and long behold, she's preggo, right? Like, there's no other way to say it, she's pregnant. And I guess you all know who the fucking baby is, all right? So she's like, oh, fuck, She's like, shit, remember, they're like young heroes. At this point, Aizawa is 31 in canon, and Deku is 15, so we'll have to age up Aizawa a bit, and Deku will be going to college if he even goes to UA. I'll leave that up to you if you want Deku to be a hero, a vigilante, or a villain. I'm gonna make a poll, alright? So, Deku, what's it called? Deku, he's just like, no, not Deku, but Joker, she's like, shit. She calls her agency, she's like, yeah, some family business happened, and I won't be able to, be at work for a while. We'll say that she had, like, her leave with pay, right? She's like, all right, well, thank you, yada, yada. She left, right? She went to the doctor, they're like, yeah, you're pregnant, yada, yada, yada. They explained all that. She didn't meet with any of her friends or any of her family. She wanted to keep this secret, right? Aizawa did call her. He's like, hey, I heard about, you dipping on the agency. What happened? She was like, some family stuff, yada, yada. All right, she made all those excuses. Because, Aizawa, he's a tsundere. As much as I hate to say it, he's a tsundere, all right? Because Joke is a bomb, all right? But, Joke doesn't know that, because Aizawa's a good tsundere, unlike most. Or would he be called a kudere? Because they're, like, cold. Yeah, he'd be more of a kudere than a tsundere. Yeah, kudere. Alright, why am I considering what kind of fucking dere Aizawa is? Alright, but, after a while, she has a baby, and, immediately, they're like, name, and she's like, Izuku, because we'll say that's her father's or grandfather's name. Someone close to her, I guess. I don't know. He doesn't get her last name because, after, like, a week, she sends him off to the orphanage, which hurts her a lot. Because she does, like, already, like, have an attachment to him. But she's like, it'd be better for him and me if he went to, like, an orphanage. So she sent him to, like, a religious orphanage because she heard about how great they take care of their kids. Their kids with nice quirks. But I'll explain Deku's quirk in a bit. So Deku's life was mostly normal, actually, through the age of, like, 1 through 3, or 1 through 4. Then he unlocked his quirk, right? We'll say that every time they unlock a quirk, the doctor comes to them because it's a whole ass orphanage. No way they come to the doctor. So the doctor comes to them, he swabs them and stuff like that, and then he checks for their quirks. And what's it called? Everybody, he was like, oh, you have a light-based quirk. oh, you have an electric-based quirk, oh, you have, what's it called, a steel-based quirk, stuff like that, right? And he's like, your quirk is kind of, shaky. And then, like, Deku looks at him weird, because, he still wants to be, like, All Might, right? So, the doctor explains, yeah, your quirk, it forces people to laugh whenever you want to, like, anybody around you. And then Deku's like, that doesn't seem too bad, like, he isn't trying to think negative about it. They're like, that's not all. Whenever you do it, you also cancel out people's quirks. Now, keep in mind, this church thinks of quirks as, like, a gift from God. So a quirk that takes away a gift from God, in their eyes, is the devil itself, alright? So they're like, oh, he can cancel other quirks or take them away. Like, he's like, not really take them away. Once he stops making them laugh, like, then then they don't, what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Once he stops making them laugh, then they get their quirk back. But the thing is, he can make them laugh as long as he has breath to laugh himself, right? So as long as he can laugh, then then they don't have their quirk. And I hate to be that guy, but I'm pretty sure I can laugh for longer than it takes me to blink, alright? Well, I mean, it depends how good at blinking you are. But what's it called? So all it means is Deku needs, like, lung training, and he'll be pretty OP. He already is kind of OP. Because think about how much you can do while you're laughing. Other than, like, Deku can, like, still do it. Like, he can be, like a light chuckle, and they'll be busting out laughing, alright? So Deku, he's like, well, like, that everybody's like, oh, that's kind of evil because you take away people's gifts, yada yada. It didn't really start with the adults. It started with, like, the kids, because the adults always talked about how quirks were a gift from God and stuff like that. Since that's all they've really known since they lived in the orphanage, they believed them, of course. Like, why wouldn't you? If you were told your whole life that the sky was red and you never went outside, why would you not believe that person? So, I mean, what's it called? After that, the kids were like, oh, that's kind of evil, that's kind of demonic and stuff like that, because, they don't say, villainous and stuff like that, really. They say more like demonic and evil, and, they do still say, like, villainous, but they don't say it as much as they would say other stuff. And, there were a few teachers who were like, no, it's not like that, each gift is different in its own way, yada yada yada. But sometimes, like, when someone would tell a joke, Deku would laugh, and his quirk would activate uncontrollably, and it would force everyone to laugh. But, like, Deku wouldn't really realize it, because if he's laughing at a joke, then he thinks, oh, everybody else is just laughing with him. But what's it called? Deku at that point, he couldn't, like, control his quirk, really. But after a while, the priests and stuff like that, not like the priests, but, like, the owners of the church were like, he's kind of evilish, and they started bullying Deku about it, and actually at one point, once he got to, like, 8, started beating him about it. They were like, your quirk is villain, demonic, yada yada yada. And we'll say around the age of 10, he got kicked out of the orphanage, right? So now Deku is on the streets, he's all alone, and he has legit no one. Now, I have to think hard about this one, because this could also very much decide whether, actually, scratch that last part. He's still in the orphanage, but he goes to school. Each kid gets to go to school, which is actually, like, pretty rare, because they're not, like, a poor orphanage by any chance. They're pretty well done. It's just, like, they're heavy religious. That's their only thing. So what's it called? He goes to school, right? And, he does go to the same school as Bakugo, and Bakugo is like, oh, your quirk is villainous because you take other people's quirks away, yada yada yada. And, Deku's like, no, it's not like that. I'm not a villain, But Deku, he doesn't really want to be seen as, like, a villain, because no one at the age of, like, 8 wants to be seen as a bad guy or a villain or anything like that, unless you're just, demons. Nah. But unless you're playing games or something like that, I don't see why most kids would want to be, considered a villain by all their classmates. So, they're like, oh, you force people to laugh. You're, what's it called? Honestly, honestly, your quirk's kind of useless if you can't, like, laugh, yada, yada, yada. And Deku's like, I could fake laugh and it would still work. But, that's what he's thinking. But he doesn't want to say that because they might be like, wow, even when you're faking it, your quirk is so, evil and stuff like that, all that stuff. So Deku, he's just like, he's always sad and stuff like that. He's always depressed. He always has that, what's it called? He's always sad. Ooh, I just thought about something. So, if any of you have watched the Joker movie, the guy in that movie has, like, this random disease where he randomly laughs. That's a side effect of Deku's quirk, alright? He just randomly starts laughing out of nowhere. Like, it can be, like, the most random moment, and he'll start laughing, right? Like he'll just be walking around, he'll take a shower or something, and he'll just start bust out laughing. And it'll make everyone in, like, who can hear him laugh and take away their quirks. So, think about that. That's a side effect of Deku's quirk. He'll eventually probably be able to get rid of it, but for now, it's just a side effect that Deku has to deal with. Deku, he's just like, he's standing around, right? And then Bakugo, he walks up to Deku. He's like, you're a villain, yada, yada, yada. They're starting to bully Deku. And, like, halfway through them bullying Deku, he just starts laughing, right? Because his quirk, kind of activates. He just starts laughing, right? And Bakugo tries to shoot an explosion, but it doesn't work. We'll say that this is, like, the first day when Deku showed up. It doesn't work, and he's like, Bakugo's confused, and then he just starts laughing. And, everybody's, like, confused because all they're hearing is... they're hearing, like, this evil-ass fucking laugh. They're hearing, like... like, that kind of fucking laugh. The Joker laugh, I can't really do a fucking joke. Like, fuck, yeah, no. I'm not even gonna attempt. Fuck that. Yeah, no. I'll probably practice it. I'm probably gonna practice it, to be honest. But once I do get a good Joker laugh, I'm gonna start doing that in this what if, but until then, you won't get a good Joker laugh out of me. But now, like, Deku, like, Bakugo, he's, like, laughing, right? And, like, at this point, like, he's been laughing, like, for a while, and he's at the point of tears. And so is Deku, to be honest, because his quirk is, like, forcefully activating. So Deku, he's like, alright, well, I mean, I'm laughing right now, but I might as well get him. So, he hits Bakugo, right? Bakugo falls down. He punched Bakugo. But, like, he realizes, like, I'm not that strong. Like he noticed, like, that punch hurt him, like, a lot to hit him. And, he stopped laughing, and then Bakugo got up. He shot a bigger explosion at Deku. Deku was, like, knocked out. And Deku was like, my quirk is not, like, he's like, he tries to think of it, like, in a positive way. He's like, my quirk isn't, like, awful. It's just, like, if I train my body and make sure that I'm strong enough to be able to beat people without it, like, beat people, like, 1v1, then I don't have to worry, You can't take away mutation quirks, of course, I still have to give him those limitations and stuff like that. But, like, All Might, All Might will be debuffed, alright? Like, all that shit. But I'll also, since he is, like, the next generation after Aizawa, I will make it to where, like, let's say, your mutation quirk gives you, like, a 50 times boost in strength, alright? He cuts it down to, like, 25%. So he still has, like, some sort of effect on mutation quirks, but he doesn't have, like, a crazy effect. So he can still do shit, like, like, Muscular will lose his muscle, fucking, the Scaly dude, the lizard guy off of the League of Villains, we'll say that his fucking speed and agility and shit like that will go down, and his scales will be weakened, right? Like, shit like that. So it just debuffs him, like, for mutation quirks. But, like, for other quirks, like emitter type quirks or enhancement type quirks, then them shits just get, like, completely shut down. So, Deku, they try to make fun of Deku, but, like, Deku just works out, right? And, he's got a bit of muscle underneath on him, but it's not, like, bulky. It's more like lean muscle, compact. It's more like Aizawa, to be fair. Honestly, he's gonna be a lot like Aizawa in some ways, but very different from him in a lot of ways. Depending on how you guys want to do this. If you guys want to make him a villain and stuff like that, How far are we? Let's see how far we're at. We're at like 19 minutes. I can push it for a little bit longer. So now we're gonna time skip to around the time when Deku is 19. All right, we'll say 19. The orphanage is about to kick him out. Well, not 19. We'll say 18 because he'll still be in high school by then. So the orphanage is like about to kick him out, like after he finishes high school. And then, he's like sitting in class, right? And they're like, oh, all y'all want to go to UA, all you want to be heroes, yada, 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 right? So he throws the papers in the air. He's like, I know you all want to be heroes, yada, 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 right? And, everybody's like going crazy. Everybody's like using their quirk. Deku's just sitting there because, he doesn't feel like laughing to make everyone's quirk shut down and get everyone mad at him. Because even if he can still beat everyone, he's not Aizawa level. He can't just start folding like a whole squad. But he can still like fold Bakugo 1-on-1. Don't get me wrong. He'll still fold Bakugo. But like if it's like 19 people v him and he's laughing, yeah, they're gonna have a harder time because they're gonna be laughing. And like another thing is, depending on how hard he laughs, also like decides how hard they laugh. So, like, if he's, like, giggling a little bit, right, they'll laugh, like, harder than he will, of course. They'll be, like, they'll be on full, like, laughs, but, like, nothing to where, like, they can't do anything. But, like, if he's doing, like, a full laugh, it's one of those good laughs, to where, like, you're holding your stomach. But, like, if he's doing a full laugh to where he's holding his stomach, you got one of those laughs where you can't breathe, you crying, like, you like, someone tickling you and you want them to stop. Like that kind of laugh, you know what I mean? If you don't know what I mean, what kind of parents didn't tickle you to that point at one point? But all right, let me stop saying all that stuff. But yeah, so Deku, he's not laughing or anything like that. He's mostly gotten his like uncontrollable laughter out of the way, really. But it's still like, let's say like he's in a high emotion state, he'll still like have that uncontrollable laugh. Or if he's in danger, that'll happen too. So everybody's chilling out, and like 2 people have actually I won't say 2 people. I'll say for now, just Bakugo has decided to go to UA for now. Alright? If you guys want him to be a hero, I can make him be a hero. But for now, we're gonna go a different route. So Deku, he's just like sitting there, right? And he's like, only Bakugo like tried to go to UA, yada yada yada. And Deku is still like pretty strong-willed back when he was like 8. But at this point, like people have been making fun of and calling him villain for the past like how many years? 10 years of his life. That's more than like, that's all of his life basically. All of his life so far, since like the age of 4. So for 14 years straight, he's just been called villain, monster, demon, all this stuff. They do call him a clown and stuff like that because, he makes people laugh. But what's it called? They plan on taking it to an extreme today. So Deku, he's just like, chilling out, stuff like that. He's relaxing in class. Bakugo walks up. Deku doesn't really take notes on heroes. Bakugo walks up to him. He's like, hey, nerd. What's it called? I thought you talked about being a hero, Deku's like, yeah, it's alright. I don't really need to be one. He's like, what, are you going to be a clown or something? That might be the only thing you'd be good at. Deku's like, who knows, maybe, Bakugo thinks that Deku's mocking him. So he slams his hand on the ground, he blows his hand up, right? He blows up Deku's desk. Deku's like, I mean, this is our last day. I don't really care if you do that. Bakugo, now he's pissed, right? So he's like, fight me then, nerd, Deku's like, do we have to do this? Because, he's beat up Bakugo a lot. Like, right now, he's in that chill, like, mindset, like Aizawa, right? So he's like, do we have to do this, Bakugo? Like, do we really? And Bakugo's like, yeah, nerd, of course we have to do this. Deku's like, fine, alright, where do you want to fight? Because, he fights Bakugo a lot. Bakugo's like, we're gonna fight at Ace Chemicals. Yeah, you know what I'm doing, right? So Deku, he's like, Ace Chemicals? You mean that shut down factory? He's like, not really shut down just yet. It's about to, though. Deku's like, alright, man, I'll meet you there. Bakugo's like, just to make sure that, you know, you do. We'll say that Joke left him a memento. Alright? What would it be? What's something that the Joker always has on him? Fucking a joy buzzer. No. Well, the little flower that shoots out water, right? He doesn't like wear it all the time, but he has it like in his book bag because that's like the only thing he has left of his mother or his like family at all. So, you know, Bakugo's like, just to make sure that, you know, you hold by your bargain. He grabs it and then he runs off, right? And Deku's like, hey, you know, you can't take that. But, you know, Bakugo knows that it's important to Deku. He doesn't know why. Like, he knows Deku's an orphan, and he does make fun of that because Bakugo's a dickhead. But, you know, after that, Deku, he's just like, this is so annoying. So he gets up, you know, he picks up his book bag and he heads over to Ace Chemicals. He still runs into Sludge Villain, but what's it called? This time, he talks to All Might. He's like, can I be a hero with my quirk? For this one, we'll say that All Might says yes, because, you know, he knows Aizawa. Because, like, if he didn't know Aizawa, maybe he would say no. But he's like, yeah, you could be a hero with your quirk. I know a hero just like you. You know, well, I know actually 2 heroes just like you. You know, he talks about Joke and Aizawa. And Deku's like, never really heard about this Aizawa guy. I heard about Joke a little bit, though. You know. So people, you know, so after that, Deku just heads over to Ace Chemicals, right? Because there was no bottle incident because he didn't grab onto All Might. I don't really feel like covering the sludge incident because, you know, it's a sludge monster. But then, you know, Deku heads over to Ace Chemicals. He's walking around, right? And he's like, what the hell? Like, you know, he sees, like, on writing, like, a spray paint, like, go this way, nerd, you know. It's like, this way, clown, you know. He keeps, like, walking down the hallways and seeing this. And Deku's like, this is probably going to be, like, a sneak attack or something, knowing Bakugo. Because, you know, he knows Bakugo's low-key a pussy. So he's, like, you know, he's getting ready for that. So he's just walking, right? And, like, while he's, like, walking, he sees Bakugo. And they're on this, like, you know what, like, kind of situation it is. They're on this, like, large, like, bridge type area. Like, one area has one door, one area has another door, but if you look straight down, then you could fall into, you know, a vat of chemicals. So Bakugo's over there. He's like, you ready, you know, for the fight, nerd? You know, Deku's like, usually you fight in more open areas. What's with this? Bakugo's like, nah, I had a plan this time. You know, because remember, he sees Deku as, like, a villain. He doesn't see Deku as, like, a good person at all. Right? So Deku's like, alright, let's get this over with. So, you know, Deku, he gets into a fighting stance because he doesn't just use his quirk off rip, right? So Bakugo, he rushes at him. Deku is just, like, beating up Bakugo because they're close quarters and Bakugo can't really use the area to his advantage because they're on a narrow way. So Deku's honestly just folding the fuck out of Bakugo. So, you know, Bakugo, he gets... You know, Deku is like right hook, left hook, uppercut, you know, elbow him in the fucking gut, all that stuff, right? And after that, you know, Bakugo gets sent back. He falls on his back. He gets up. He's like, damn villain, you know. He's like, you're just some joker. Like, you know, he's like, you're just some joker. You're never going to be anything more than that. Deku's like, all right, yeah, whatever. He's like, but I have a way to get you off my back forever, you know. Because, like, Bakugo's worked up a bit of sweat in this fight. Deku noticed that Bakugo didn't use his quirk as much. You know, Deku looks behind him and he sees that, like, the door where, like, he came out of got closed by the guy with wings, right? You know the guy with wings, that Bakugo, one of the henchmen. Bakugo's like, later, nerd. You know, he points his hands, like, at Deku's feet area. And he's like, and Deku's confused, and then he realizes, like, Bakugo's about to fucking kill him. So he starts trying to run the opposite direction, but he can't get there that fast. So Bakugo shoots him, like, howitzer impact. At that point, like, the closest thing he has to a howitzer impact, and just destroys the bridge underneath Deku. But, you know, Bakugo made sure the area he was in was, you know, safe, because he's not gonna fall himself. That would make him, like, super dumb, which, as much as I hate Bakugo, he's not that dumb. So he fall, you know, Deku's like, God damn it, you know, he's like, fuck you, yada, 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 you know. he's like, fuck you, he's yelling at, and he falls into the chemicals. And Bakugo, he does this evil fucking Bakugo laugh, because Bakugo's a fucking demon spawn. Who the fuck, Mitsuki? Also, I don't know a ship for this. You can choose a ship for this. I don't really care who. Just like make it someone who's pretty cool, I guess. I don't know. You could make it Toga. I could make her like Harley Quinn, but then I'd feel like I'd be copying Raven. So like try to pick someone other than Toga. But if you're gonna pick her, I guess. I don't know. So after that, Deku's just like, Deku's like, damn it. He falls in the chemicals and he's just thinking about life. He's like, from all my life, everyone's like just fucked me over. Like his mother abandoned him. His mother and father. He thinks his mother and father just abandoned him. He lived a normal life until the age of 4, which he does not remember. Fucking, the church people see him as a fucking demon. His classmates see him as a villain. Like, honestly, what's the point? But, Deku, after, like, we'll time skip after 3 months of the 10-month training arc, right? They finally close down Ace Chemicals, like, fully. And, they're like, all right, we have to drain out all the chemicals and stuff like that. So they drain it out. They find Deku's body. And they're like, oh my god, yeah. They see that it's, like, completely pale, stuff like that. So, as normal humans would fucking do, they call the ambulance. Ambulance comes, they put him in the hospital. They see that, like, he has a pulse, but it's super weak. So, they try to check his blood for, like, who, his parents could be, right? And then, they see that, that his blood is kind of tainted with the chemicals. But they do check his blood. They still are able to get the DNA off, but it takes them, like, we'll say a couple of weeks, right? And we will also say, this all will make sense, honestly, because, like, they're heroes, right? So they would do a DNA, like, they would make sure to get their DNA samples just to have them on record in case, heroes did shady shit. Because if you don't know, you can't take people's DNA samples without consent, which, I actually learned today that, they do fucked up shit where you can just, if you drink something and then leave it there, they'll swab you the DNA because that's technically consent. It's weird, right? Fucking shady ass shit, alright? But, what I'm saying is, if you're in a police interrogation and you did it, don't drink whatever the fuck they give you. And if you do drink it, hold that bitch with you, alright? Don't give them fingerprints, nothing. Alright, let me not, give fucking criminals who watch my channel ideas. But, basically, Deku, he's just like, he's laying there, and, they run the ID, and they see that, the mother is a pro hero named Joke. So they call and they're like, hey, Miss Joke, like, they're confused because, Joke never had a son or anybody she was ever in love with, really, or it appeared to be, at least. They're like, Miss Joke, we found your son in Ace Chemicals. And, Miss Joke, at this point, she kind of forgot about Derek. Not like forgot, but like, it was more like, what do you mean? Like, my son? They're like, yeah, we ran the DNA, he matches you, even though his blood is highly tainted over, like, all his chemicals. So Joke realizes, oh shit, this is my son that, I signed up for adoption, like, so many years ago. So she immediately, like, she heads there just to, like, see Deku, right? And when she gets there, she sees that Deku, he's lean, but, like, his skin is pale white, right? Fucking, like, he looks awful. He looks awful. So they're like, yeah, it seems like he was in that vat of chemicals for about, like, 5 months. Honestly, we don't know how he even is at all alive. Which, Deku's body was using the chemicals for survival. Like, he was basically drinking the chemicals, and, like, somehow he got oxygen. I don't know. Just, like, fucking his body was barely floating out of it, but like his skin was intaking the fucking chemicals, and they were kind of like regenerating him in a way. Like, it's fucked. It's weird. Alright, it's a weird way of explaining it, but basically Deku kinda is a mutant, but not really. In a way. Alright, I'll explain it more in depth later when I think about it more. But, you know, Miss Joke is like, oh my god, you know, my son had to go through this, yada, yada, yada. She's thinking about how awful she is for doing this. And she's like, do I call Aizawa? You know, she's like, should I call Aizawa? And the news are like, hey, you know, basically, like, she tells the doctors that she sent her son up for adoption. Like, after she got there, she's like, I sent my son up for adoption, like, the day he was born. You know, the doctors are like, oh, you know, we understand since she's a pro hero, right? And, you know, Deku, you know, he's not at all awake. He's not going to wake up for a little bit. So, you know, she's like, just, I'll pay for the hospital bills. Just take care of him. You know, if he survives, tell me. But just don't tell him about me at all. And then they're like, all right, you know. So Joke knows. Aizawa still doesn't know. Deku still doesn't know. And let's see how far we gotten. Yeah, that seems like a good place to leave it off. All right, well, I want you guys to tell me if you want it to be a hero or a villain. All right, you want it to be a good guy or a bad guy. Anything will work. I'll be able to make it work. Or a vigilante, that'll work too. A vigilante that becomes a hero. I don't know. Anything that you guys really want. But either way, guys, have fun. Alright? Check out the outro that I'm about to put because I thought it was just a funny video and I didn't want to put it as the intro. Actually, no. I'm going to put it as the intro because fuck it. Alright? Actually, no. I'm going to put it as the outro. Yeah.